What changes our whole life is action. Why don't we take action? Fear. What do we got to do to get ourselves to do it? We got to make sure that we push ourselves through it by making a decision. The point in which change happens is a decision. Every change in your life that you want will come from something simple, a decision. People go, what does it take to change? Decide. But you go, oh, God sounds so simple and so basic. If it was that easy, you'd already have done it, Mr. Robbins. No, it is that easy and you're still not doing it because you are not putting yourself in a state to decide. See, a real decision is not like a preference. It's not like where you say, I'll try it and see. That's not a decision. Decision comes from Latin. It means like incision, to cut off from. Decision is when you cut off any possibility except the thing you committed to. It's like that is it. How many of you in this room have ever smoked cigarettes and then one day you finally decided no more, I mean really decided, and you've never touched it again and you're not even tempted to? How many made that decision one time? Say aye. You know what a real decision is. If I came to you today and I said, would you like a cigarette? Would you go, what brand is it? No, you'd probably say to me, no, I'm not I want you to hear that. You'd not only say, I don't smoke. You'd say, I'm not even that kind of person. You literally divorce yourself from even that kind of person. So it's no effort. When you really decide, it's not an effort. Once you've cut it off, it doesn't take effort. Deciding takes effort, but once you've decided, it's over. You don't think about it anymore. It's like it's easier to fast than it is to diet. Because when you're fasting, somebody offers you something, you don't even think about it. You go, no, I'm not eating. Right? When you're dieting, you're like, well, maybe we can have a little more. This is a little piece of cake. Not that many calories. Right? And pretty soon you're back to where you were again. So a real decision is what you got to make. When you make a real decision, life changes. But it's a real decision, you burn your bridges, you only move forward. Now, the way to get yourself there is to put yourself in state and condition it. Conditioning is this. Build the muscle. Do you do it one time? No. You do it a lot and you do beyond what you're comfortable with and the muscle expands. And now what used to be hard to do as the muscle grows is easy. That's the same thing with every other kind of muscle. But I'll give you one example. They take monkeys. I don't approve of this research, but this is what they do. And UC Irvine, University of California, Irvine, they've done these studies where they take monkeys and they will take 4 of their fingers and tape them down. And then they take one finger and they bend it back and forth 10,000 times. Every time they bend this finger back and forth like this, use this as a metaphor. In your brain, for you to do this once, twice, you have to make connections between neurons in your brain. Neuron's a big word for nerve cells. So to do this, imagine as a metaphor, it's not exactly like this, to do this once, you got to put a connection, a thin thread had to be grown between this neuron and this neuron, as an example, as a metaphor. Do it again, 2 thin threads. Do it 10,000 times, and guess what? You are wired to do this. Here's the point. They untape the monkey's fingers, and what does he do constantly? For no good reason. He's wired, conditioned to do this. Now, how does this relate to you? Well, how many of you go to work the same way every day? You drive on the same on-ramp, go the same direction, get off on the same on-ramp. How many got a pattern like that? Say aye. How many have had a day when you're supposed to go the opposite direction on the freeway or the road, but you're on the cell phone and your brain is at the lunch and you get on the same on-ramp going the same direction that you normally do that's the wrong way? Say aye. You're monkeys. Can you condition yourself to feel depressed to where it feels more comfortable because you go there more often and you're wired to be there? Yes or no? Can you condition yourself to be quick to anger? Yes or no? Can you condition yourself to feeling overwhelmed at the drop of a hat? Can you condition yourself to feel loved all the time? Even if people say, I hate you. Yes, could you still feel loved? Could you condition yourself to feel happy as a consistent way of living all the time? Yes or no? But you know what? Most people don't believe that, but of course it is. It's the same nervous system. But the environment reinforces negative behavior more than positive. People go, how's it going? Oh, my life is so great. Oh, easy for you. So pretty soon you learn to go, yeah, I'm doing okay. You don't want to get too good because then your peer group would be unhappy with you because they're not feeling so good. So you learn to downplay it. And then you don't reward yourself so your brain doesn't go for more. Because it goes, we got to stay right on in here. This is our little comfort zone. So we're going to condition ourselves to be in a peak state, especially when you're exhausted. Because like, remember when you're doing the muscle? The one where you can't lift one more and you make yourself do it, that's where you get all the growth. So when you're most tired is when you got to push yourself. If you didn't listen to anything I said, but all you did was keep yourself in a peak state for 3 days, you'll develop something called emotional muscle. And emotional muscle is where whole life comes in. Repetition is the mother of skill until it gets conditioned, until it's automatic. Now, I'll give you a clue. You know what I told you about them doing this with the finger of the animal? Here's what they discovered. Don't have to do this 10,000 times. All you got to do is do this about 2 dozen, max 3 dozen. If every time they do this, they stimulate the pleasure center of the brain of the animal. And they do that literally physically by pushing a little needle in the area of the brain that creates pleasure. But what happens is when you do this, they do this and they create pleasure. Instead of 1 string, they get like 500 every time you do it with pleasure. So what happens is you can condition yourself with that pleasure, and you can get this done in a short time. It doesn't have to take you 5 years. So we want to purposely put ourselves in these peak states over and over again, not as a rah-rah session, but literally as a training tool for our human nervous system. How many follow this? Say I. And the secret is when you don't feel like doing it, that's when you got to do it the most. Because that's when you'll get the real conditioning. But don't just do it like, yes. Okay? You got to smile and make yourself feel good while you're doing it and make it better each time.